"Certainly, certainly," he said. "I don't need to be in court quite yet. I'm always delighted to see you," he added with a warm smile, holding the door for her to enter the room. Once Mary had settled into the chair across from his desk, and Turner had carefully deposited his folders back on a nearby shelf, he dropped down into his chair. "So then," he began kindly, "how have you been managing since the death of Samuel?" "Fairly well, thank you," Mary answered. "I'm glad to hear that. Never an easy time when we lose a loved one. Never been married myself, but have to imagine it would be a terrible adjustment," he said, shaking his head sympathetically. "Yes, it is," Mary said softly. "Well then, Mrs. Maddox," Turner said, anxious to change the subject, "what is it I can help you with?" "I'm having a bit of a problem, and I need some advice," Mary said. The lawyer simply nodded for her to continue. "My late husband's, that is, nephew, Sam, seems to think that Samuel's will gives him some claim on the estate." Turner grunted. "I suspected this would happen." Mary looked at him puzzled. "Why would you have suspected that?" "Sam came to see me some days ago. He wanted me to look at a copy of the will and tell him if he had any right to any of the property left by Samuel." "And?" asked Mary, surprised by this revelation. Turner shrugged. "I told him that I thought the will made it fairly clear that he had no claim, that the entire estate was intended to go to you. I also told him that given my friendship with Samuel over the years, I would not feel comfortable representing him." "May I ask what his reaction was?" "He was not very happy with me, I guess you could say," Turner said with a rueful smile. "Actually stormed out after I told him that. Not a terribly polite young man, is he?" "No, indeed. Always had a bit of a short temper," Mary said. "I used to tell Samuel that he'd come to no good, but Samuel, rest his soul, was always trying to help him out. Never understood what he saw in that young man." "So, has he found another lawyer?" asked Turner. "Moffat Strother," said Mary. Turner said nothing and simply raised a skeptical eyebrow. "He came to visit me yesterday, Strother did, threatening that he and Sam were going to take me to court over the will unless I agreed to some kind of settlement," Mary said. "And?" "I'm afraid I wasn't very polite to him. Told him I had no intention of sharing anything with the likes of Sam. So then he hands this to me," she said, unfolding a set of wrinkled papers and placing them on the desk in front of Turner. "An injunction?" he said, scanning the document. "That's what he called it," Mary continued. "Said it prevents me from selling any of the estate, land or property, until a judge decides if Sam has a claim or not." Turner read through the papers and then placed them on his desk. "That is correct. An injunction is actually an order to keep everything status quo, meaning no changes, until a judge has a chance to look at the case and make some decisions. So, essentially, this says that you can't do anything to dispose of any of the property until a court says so. So then, what do you propose to do?" "Depends. On a lot of things, actually. First off, I'd like your opinion on his claims about what the will says." She placed a copy of the will in front of him. "I'd pay you for your time and advice, of course," Mary added. Turner waved his hand in the air, dismissing the offer. "No need for that. As I said, Samuel was a good friend for many years. Happy to take a look at it for you." He shifted his gaze back to the will in front of him. After a moment of study, he looked up at her. "I can see what they're focusing on. The language is a bit unclear, but," he continued reassuringly, "I don't think a court would see it the way Sam and his lawyer do. Let me read it, and then I can explain it to you." The lawyer reached for a pair of wire-rimmed glasses, placed them on, picked up the will, and began reading aloud. "I give and bequeath unto my beloved wife, Mary Maddox, my whole estate, real, personal, and mixed, to do with and use as she may see proper.